So what's going on right now for NBK-Design? It's a sale, which is the whole store 35% off. And if you spend $43, you have 43% off. And I just wanted to also talk about the challenge that we have with the birthday sale. So if you go to Old Scraps community and we go to designer challenges, and we have NBK Design Birthday Challenge here at the top, or sometimes it's going to be in the middle, depends on who is active on that time. So we have here wall art, and the setup of my photo is different. So always the first one is at the bottom. So we have a birthday challenge here, and we have a hunt. And in this hunt, you have to look for some things to have some prizes. And we have a challenge also of a wall art, which would be great with the lesson today. You can create a painting and create a wall art. We have a template there that you can, pretend like this is a wall art right there. So let me get myself out of the way. And so there's many chances to win. So participate, enjoy, and we have also a new collection at the shop. So we have a new collection called Counting, and the collection is live and it's on sale. So take a look. Also, if you are familiar with the Facebook page, then I already posted a video that I did showing the whole collection. And we're gonna have other videos that I'm gonna post today during the day of the brush tool, although I'm gonna show the brush tool here, of the styles and of the styles and lace styles in Paso, Gesso. And I'm going to do some Facebook Lives to show other things from the collection, like, for example, this sketch watercolor here. I'm gonna show you that on Facebook Live, and I'm gonna show this overlays here on Facebook Live as well. So I try to do every week a Facebook Live. Let's see how that is going to be now that my son's gonna be on vacation, but I guess people don't mind if we have kids around. So get a sip of water here. And so I'm gonna be showing things there. And sometimes I show new things, sometimes I show old things, and sometimes I give some tips on how to use some of the products. So really start to see that as we have more Facebook Lives for you. I think people are enjoying that a lot. We have some new templates, and the Painter's Toolbox is on sale. And again, remember, then if you buy 43, then it goes to 43% off, which is a huge deal for the amount of things that come. Because if you read here, it comes a lot of things. So that is done, the challenge. So I want to talk about real fast before we start about the social media here. So if you don't know, I work with NBK-Design doing some videos for her for education for her products. This is the channel that we have. And right now I have 128 videos. So pretty much there is almost any video for any product that you want to learn about it. And we are trying to create more videos, and now with the addition of the Facebook Live. So you can follow the channel there, but it's good to bookmark, because if you see an old product that is on sale and you would like to know how it works, then it's an opportunity for you, although we are always posting on Facebook. So again, the way to be updated with everything is to join us on Facebook, okay? So another thing too is to follow NBK-Design. Nicole on Instagram, she posts sometimes some sneak peeks of the creations that she's doing for the collections, about her personal life. You can see here. how she gets started with a collection, which I think is very interesting as a customer to see how things are done and to see that she really creates by hand everything. So you can see here, she posts some videos of everything, so you can take a look there. And so if you want to know more about the person behind the brand, then you can join her there. So, okay, Facebook, social media, and okay, so let's now go to Photoshop, right? I think I talked about everything. And let me now transfer to Photoshop here. So now that you are seeing Photoshop, just let me close some things like I told you, so things are faster here for me. Okay. So today I want to talk about doing some painting with the brushes. Because we have a challenge about wall art, we thought would be good to give you a little introduction. I have barely an hour here to talk to you about it, because we're going to have some ending things, but I think we can get it started for you to have an idea. And we want to do more things about that to show you how to use the brush tools. So the goal here for what NBK-Design brand wants for you, it's for you to learn to be also creative with the tools, to use them for digital art and not just for scrapbooking. Scrapbooking is great. We all scrapbook. I scrapbook. But if you follow me as well, you know that I love to play in Photoshop and paint and do other things, which I think it's fun. So we are going to be using, I didn't get the preview of everything, but I'm going to say to you what I'm using. This is the new here brush tool that we have. So we are going to be using, I got some of my favorites here, and for we to get started here. So, and I got this picture here from Pixabay. But before we get started, I wanted to talk about how can you get inspiration for this and how do I get inspiration for this. So I'm going to show you some screenshots here. And sometimes the way I get inspiration is going to Instagram. And I have some people that I like to follow on Instagram. This is one artist that I like to follow. And I think it is great, the art that they do, but I usually always thinking, how can I, do the same thing in digital? Because I don't want to deal with all the mess to create that. So I go for inspirations of things that you can do in digital with brush tools today, with dynamic brushes. So this is one artist that I like a lot, Laura Hornart. So she does abstract art. As you can see, I love the colors that she uses. She always uses some bright colors. Another favorite of mine is Flora Bowley, or Bowley. I really like her style. She, as you can see, she does some abstract, but she uses some elements like flowers or doodles or things like that, which I really like. And this is another example of her art. She's evolving. I see that she's putting some people there. And the thing about this is you don't have to do like her, or you don't have to like everything that she does. But you can grab some elements that what they use. So this is what I do. Some of them I like 100% of what they do, and some of them I grab some things that they use in my mind to inspire me. So the good thing in Instagram now is that you can bookmark. So I bookmarked something that I like. So when I'm gonna do a painting on Photoshop, then I can get inspired for a particular painting. So this is the one that we are going to be inspired today. Not you're not supposed to imitate, because then we are doing something else. But we're supposed to be inspired by this. So inspired by this artist, she does beautiful, beautiful paintings. It's just unbelievable what she does. I just discovered her recently, and her name is Amy Elizabeth _ fine art. Check her out. She has some beautiful stuff to get you inspired. And I love the texture that she uses. I'm a fan of texture. As you can, I don't know if you can see the detail, but she has some plasters and things like that. So really love that. And this is another one from her. So you can see some gold foiling. Is just beautiful. So use that inspiration. If you don't know how to get started painting Photoshop, sometimes I don't know how I'm gonna start, but then I go to Instagram, see my bookmarks, and some things get me inspired. Doesn't matter if it's the color, or sometimes I think, oh, let me try to emulate, this texture, and then I get started, and then things get going. Because I think many people say, I don't know how to start. And the way I think you should start is be inspired by abstract art, or if you like flower painting, or if you like girls painting, whatever you wanted to do. So just as a last inspiration here, because it's another kind of abstract art, is this artist called Hilary Butler Fine Art. She does very, very, I would say, clean abstract art. Oh, thank you for stopping the noise. Let's hope he continues that. So, but you can see she does a lot of white space, and she uses a lot of white space. And let me put my spotlight here. And she does always this cluster here, but it's not really a cluster, but it's thicker paint on one side of the canvas, which I think is really interesting. But she's very clean. Oh no, she's very clean, and I really, really love her. So so these are some artists that I like the inspiration. So I'm gonna leave Amy Elizabeth here, because I want to show you something that I got that we're going to be working today that was inspired by her. I'm going to close these previews here. And let me open a layout that I did. So inspired by her, I did this layout, which is totally different, but I wanted to grab that texture that she uses in the roses, and I want to do a painting. So the goal here is never to imitate. The goal here is to be inspired. So I wanted to show you, if you wanted to create this kind of texture with the painting and do this painting here, how can you get started with that? Okay? So let's get it started. So remember, this is the inspiration here that we have. And let me close. So before, let's get talking about brush tools. And today I'm using Photoshop, but I have videos on the NBK site with dynamic brushes for Photoshop elements. And what's the difference between brush tools and dynamic brushes? Why do I change the name? Because in Photoshop elements, there is no such a thing as, TPL tool brushes. In Photoshop elements, you can just have dynamic ABR brushes. And I wanted to show you the difference here. So if you have Photoshop elements, this is just the settings that a brush can have. This is the maximum brush settings that a brush can have. It can have fade, it can have jitter, it can have scatter, spacing, roundness. And you can have a little bit of, if you have a Wacom tablet, it can have a little bit of, pressure. The difference is that when you go to Photoshop, where I am right now, and if you open here the brush preset, you can see here how many brush presets and possibilities Photoshop gives. And each one of this, you have array amount of things that you can change. So in the jitter here, as you can see in Photoshop Elements, I just have a slider. But in Photoshop, the jitter, I don't have just a slider. I can control my jitter from direction, from rotation, from pressure, from tilt, from fade. So you have endless possibilities of combinations here. So that's the difference right there that you're seeing, the difference of amount of things that a tool preset can save comparing to Photoshop Elements. So because of this, tool preset brushes are superior than ABR files because they can contain this, and they are superior than ABR brushes because of this, and because Photoshop Elements doesn't have that. The same thing is because, as you can see, when you buy a brush tool from NBK-Design and you read the information, you see that some older Photoshop, they don't work. Why they don't work is because they didn't have some of this. As Photoshop gets updated, Photoshop creates more things. And, there was a time that Photoshop didn't have brush pose or wet edges, or it didn't have any of this. So as Photoshop, evolves, so the tool preset here evolves, the brush preset. So you cannot have something to work that didn't exist. So if she puts something in the brush that doesn't exist in your Photoshop, there's no way that can work. So that's why then you maybe have to go to ABR file, which is just gonna have this, and then it's gonna work, okay? So this is a common question that we receive a lot. So I wanted to, if you're for the first time watching the record later, then you know. So I'm using my Wacom today. You can use your mouse if you want. So I'm going to start showing how we can do some texture here on this flower, like the inspiration that we have from Instagram. And I'm going to give a Command J and duplicate this. And the way I'm going to get it started is going to the brush here, and I'm using a mixer brush today. NBK-Design has some mixer brushes. In the new counting, we have a blender brush, and I think we have a mixer brush. No, we have a blender brush, right, Nicole? And we have a mixer and I think a blender brush. Yes, we have a mixer right here. So what is a mixer brush? You're gonna see in action. A mixer brush, it makes the pixels of the picture. So you can literally paint the pixels of the picture. Because of this, sometimes depends on your Photoshop and your computer, but this is a thing in Photoshop. They are a little slower than the regular brushes, no matter if you have a powerful machine. This is something that Photoshop, I don't know, is taking forever to fix. So we duplicate the layer here. I always duplicate to just, be safe. I'm using the Be Merry, Be Bright mixer brush. Another thing is, why you are seeing this here is because I use a plugin. If you load your brushes in Photoshop, the two presets, you just drag them to Photoshop and they're gonna load. And they're gonna be right here at the top here, okay? But I have this plugin called Brushbox, and I just advise you to get this plugin if you have Photoshop CC 2017. And even this is going to give you problems. It's not, plugins are not, they are very buggy, these brush plugins, and I have to reload things all the time with this, and I complain to them, but they, you know, they keep saying it's my computer, and it's not. I think I use a Mac, and sometimes these people that do these plugins, they have trouble testing things on Macs. So if you have a Mac, be aware of that. But I keep using it because I like the way it organizes for me. So in the Be Merry, Be Bright, we have a mixer brush. So I have several here. If you see this little brush with this little tear here, then it's a mixer, okay? If you see this little finger here, okay, then it's smudge brush, right? The name escaped me now. So let's get started. As you can see here, I don't know if you can you see the brush tip is a little brush there. So you're just gonna go, let me make this bigger. And you start to mix the pixels there. And it has a little bit of texture as well. That's why I like it. It mixes your pixels, and it has a little bit of texture. So we just start to mix these roses here. I'm not gonna do this in the whole picture, guys, because this is so relaxing. You can be doing this forever, and you just, you know, I just want to do a little bit, and I can get you started how and do the other things, because it takes a while. Let me change here to another mixer brush. This uses color. So some of them use color because you can paint with mixer brush. I want one that doesn't use color. And you can remove the color here. You can change you can tap this first one, and then it becomes a mix, and it doesn't use the color, because you can paint them like a brush with color. But I just want to use them as a mixer here in my picture. Yes. So as you can see, we start to mix, and you start to play, and it's fun. And it's really relaxing, really. I can be here forever doing this. Don't think about being perfect. You just want some parts of the picture to be natural and some of them to mix. Let's see if I can zoom. Can you see better now? The texture there? Okay. So this one, you can make it bigger, and you can see, can you see the tip here? Can you let me know in the chat if you can? Okay, so you can see it's like a fan brush. Oops, sorry. I was with my finger on my, so it's like a fan brush, and you can just mix that. So let me see how is it looking overall. I'm not gonna, you know, mix this whole picture, guys. It's gonna take forever. But let's work with this central part here. And if I was doing this, you know, for, you know, calmly in my house with no people watching me, I would do the whole thing, okay? So you mix the whole thing. And so we have that. Okay, once we have that, remember that Instagram inspiration that we saw had a little extra texture there. So what I did on my layout, you're not gonna see it because I'm not showing bridge, but I'm going to bridge now. And I'm going to grab a texture from one of the collections here. And I think I used Anything is Possible. I forgot to put the texture here before. Sorry, guys. Which is the Anything is Possible overlays. So I have this Anything is Possible overlays here. So I'm just going to drag that here to my picture. Can see that. You can, you know, we have NBK-Design has tons of overlays. We have, let me just show you here in the new collection. Which we can try to see which one looks better. We have this overlays as well in the accounting collection. Let's see which one looks better. So this is the accounting collection. And then we can do an overlay. You can see here, let me zoom. You can see some of the texture here. Let's see with the other texture. Overlay, and you can see some of the scripts lines and things like that. I think I like more this one here. So you can play. Another thing that you can do, you can put color in the overlay and blend that overlay with color in the picture. So for example, if these roses were black and white and you mix them with the brush, color your overlay and use your colored overlay with a blend mode. So that's another idea. I'm going to do a Facebook Live showing how to color these overlays, so stay tuned in the Facebook. So we have that, which brings extra texture for the picture. Remember that Instagram inspiration has a lot of texture in the roses. So that's what I thought about. How can I bring that texture to the roses? Okay, so I'm going to create here a stamp layer, which is a Command Option Alt Shift E, but I have a shortcut here on my tablet. So I just created a copy of everything that I did. Now I'm going to drag this to the layout. So I have here a solid paper from the Dear Diary. I always like to start paintings with canvas paper, like Rose Bohem has canvas paper, or this kind of brushed canvas paper that she has here. I'm going to close this because I don't need it anymore. I'm going to do another painting with these roses later. And I want to do them very big. Because like the Instagram art, she had roses kind of around. She didn't have them in specific places. I don't know if you remember that. You know what? Let's bring it again. I keep talking about it. Oh, I have to accept. There you go. As you can see here, she has scattered roses here. Another thing, guys, you can actually paint the roses with the brushes, but that's for another webinar, okay? But today I want to show you how can you cheat a little bit, okay? If you think, no way I can paint a rose. But we're just cheating here using the mixer brushes and, you know, pictures. So I'm going to leave this here so we can go back to it. So let me close this. So we have here the picture, I put it very big. So now we are going to create a reverse mask. We are just going to press Option Alt and hide that picture there. The tricky thing is that you don't remember where your roses that you want that I mix are, but that's the thing with mask. If you grab a space that you didn't like, you just put it back, because if you are masking, there's no problem. And sometimes actually I mask more so I can see the edges that I want, and then I go back. Okay, so let's start the fun now. We have here the counting collection. I'm gonna use many of them. I have to say, when I'm doing a paint, I don't use just one collection. I use many, and everybody has its favorites. I have my favorites. My favorites are, and I like to say this all the time, it's Reinvent Brush Tool Set, Brush Tool number 7, and Dear Diary Brush Tool Set. And I really love some of the Winter Blues rough brushes, brush tools, and the Space Night, which I'm gonna use here, Space Night brush tools, because I think they have some, the Space Night has some great blending brushes, and the Winter Blues rough brushes, they blend with some texture. So they are my favorites, and I always have them here. So there's a new collection here. Let's start with, let me put here 2 names so I can tell you what I'm using. The Earthy Brown, here brush. And I want to note one thing. We are using a mask. To use a brush on a mask, you need or the brush to be white or black. Because these brushes, they are made to paint with color, they have sometimes some blend mode included to them. And then you're gonna brush and say, why it's not working? My brush has a problem. No, it's not a problem. Sorry, guys. It's that you're supposed to be using with color, but you're not using with color because we are masking. So you have to go there and go to normal. And don't worry, because if you grab another brush and come back to this brush, it's gonna put color again. So it's good to go. You don't need to worry about it, that you are messing up the brush. So remember, you can change things as you like. Every time you load the brush again or touch the brush again, it's gonna reset. So you don't need to worry about it. Like for example, me, sometimes when I'm using, I change the flow, I change the opacity. You don't need to worry about it because brush tool sets, they are saved. So you're not messing up, okay? So my mask is black, I have white, and I have to do this faster because we don't have much time. I'm sorry, but we are going to do more. Don't worry about it. This is just the first one. So can you see the texture there? Look at that. So what I'm doing, I'm being very not careful. I'm leaving some parts that are not brushed at all. So just go to town with it. Don't be perfect. Perfect is overrated. Okay. Can you see the tip of the brush? How cute it is. So Photoshop right now has a bug. I cannot make my brushes too big. And I called Mac about this and they said, this is an Adobe bug with Macs, as always. Because if I put my brush too big, my monitor starts to flick. So I just want to do this fast, guys, so you have an idea, okay? Because we don't have time to be careful and create a whole thing. So as you can see, I grabbed some roses here and some roses over here. Let me brush just a little bit more over here. I don't remember. Yeah. Because remember, I didn't mix all the brushes, so it's nice if you mix all your brushes, your roses. Okay, so sounds good. So if I had a big picture all mixed, then I would maybe put some more roses here, some more roses on the top here, you know, but I don't have it. So, but I guess you can have an idea. Let's put another one here. Okay, so now we can start creating this background. And one thing that can help you is styles. Every collection we have a number of styles, and let me get a drink. And the styles help you to give that realistic background. So we are going to start brushing things and using the styles as a background. Something else that can help you is to use the artsy bits and pieces, which I use a lot, to create some, you know, sometimes you see in mixed media some collages at the bottom, or, you know, sometimes mixed media people, they start collaging papers and they put paint on top. So you see pieces of the paper through the paint, so they do that. But we can teach this later in a more mixed media style here. So I now have a layer here, a blank layer underneath the flowers. And we are gonna get another brush, and let me go to Space Night. You know what, let me go here. Winter Blues Rough Brush. Which is my favorite. There we go. You see, this plugin is a little buggy, it's not completely. So we're just gonna brush, and then we can play a little bit of styles to start to create something around these roses here. So we can go here. In the new Counting collection, we have awesome gesso styles, which has a lot of texture. So you can put the texture there. Can you see that? Let me give a close-up. And I created another layer. Let's go to the brush and get another one. And you brush and brush like that. Okay. So now let me reduce that so you can see. So as you can see, it's already starting to look like a painting here with this gesso styles. Okay. So now let's get a layer on top of the flowers here. And let me grab another brush from the Space Night to show you. Let me put. So this is like a watercolor. Very, very nice brush. And let me see what I have here. I have Anything's Possible mix styles. Let's try some of them to see what happens. Ooh. Can you see that? It's very subtle because I love this brush, is so soft. So if you put the styles, it's gonna be really, really soft over here. So let me hide without it, you see the brush, and then with the style there. So on the background, I want some more color here. So let's do some impasto styles. I'm still using Space Night. Oh, sorry, I have to put a new layer. Brush it here on side here. Let's go to the counting impasto styles. So this brush that I use is really soft. So what you can do here, I'm on the same layer with the styles, then you brush more on top of it. And you start to see the style there. Let me change to pink, yeah. You can see better. Can you see better there? Okay. Yeah, so this is the things that you can do to start to bring this fit together. And the nice thing is that it's on its own layer. So suppose you didn't like, you can come here and you can move this. You can make it smaller. And if you go to rasterize and right click and rasterize the effect, you can use blend modes with it. So one thing that is nice is that I'm following the inspiration of the that picture here that we had. But if you wanted to create from scratch without any flower or anything, that's why it's important to have here the swatches from the collection. So you can have some, you know that all these colors here go together. So I can grab the blue there, then I go to my counting, and I can use this canvas overlay, new layer. Let me get the darker. Yeah. Then I can do some of the canvas texture there. Can you see there? And I can right now reduce the opacity a little bit. So if you want to give this more realistic look, then you can start to create some more dimension here with the artsy bits and pieces. The arts, I'm now on braid, you cannot see that, but I'm gonna grab some different artsy bits and pieces here from some collections so you can see how they can help you as we get at the end here. Just to give you some extra ideas here. I'm gonna grab this at the bottom. So you can use things like this and you can change the blend mode. So then you start to create more mixed media style. Let me get another one here. From Anything is Possible. We have some great texture. See this one? This goes really, really nice. Then you can create that. And she has something, some collections called the Urban Garden. Let me open here, just a second. It's a lot of art strokes. Some of the collections have art strokes. This color doesn't go much to what I'm doing, but in Photoshop, we can change the color. I just want to give you an example, okay? So then what I would do, I would grab this texture here, this gesso texture. Can you see that? It's a little bit more realistic. And the way I do blend this with the layout that I'm doing, I put a layer mask in white, and I go with my brush in black. Have to change to normal. And I start to remove some of this texture here. And it blends a little bit better. So I leave some parts and I blend other parts. Okay? So let me show you here. This was how it was before, and this was with the masking of the brush. Okay? So then you can also use color, blend modes if you want, but I think it takes off a little bit of the texture. So you can play with these things here, but then it becomes a little bit more, I think it takes off this gesso thing here. So I want to show you some examples here because we have 10 minutes to end. So this is another example here of a painting that I did. With our previous collection, so we had some brushes here and we had some pencil. We have also some pencil in this new counting collection. So as you can see here, I use the same texture here from the Urban Garden here on the sides. This bottom part here, let me show with the pen here. This bottom part here, I use a watercolor style. Okay, here. And here you can see some crack styles from the Sometimes collection. As you can see here, I blend some crack styles, and they are kind of like this. And the way you can blend the styles even better is that if you brush before with a brush that is really with some very, like the rough, Winter Blues rough, or the space and that they are really like grungy and really soft at the edges, then you create even more blendable effects there. So here I have some styles as well, some paint styles, more crack styles over here. And all this here are watercolor styles, art strokes here. And this is the brushes that you brush, and then I brush the watercolor brush here, and this here's a watercolor brush. Then I apply the watercolor style, and then on top I use the pen that comes with anything. But this is anything's possible. Anything's possible pen, part of the brush tool, and I just doodle. I use the watercolor style here on the brushes, which are, oh, wait. Let me open here for you. It's the brush tool here. This is the brush tool. So you can see you can create, I did the same. I use this brush here that has these dots. It's the scattered watercolor that comes in the brush tool. And I did this to scatter there. I scattered the brush here and I use a watercolor style there. And what I did, I added a bevel as well. So this is what you can do with the brush tools. And the goal here is to help you to go beyond what you think you can do. Because we have amazing tools here at our disposal when the designer creates things for us. So I hope you enjoyed. And again, visit us. And I wanted to say, if you're watching this later, or if you are watching this on Facebook and the recording, if you want to learn a little bit more about brush tools where you use Photoshop elements, I have a free class for Photoshop elements introducing the templates, and NBK-Design give a template on this class. It's free. And I have a second part that starts to use Photoshop elements brushes with her brush tool. So the class comes with brush tool and masks and all that. And I go and create this layout here. And let me now go back to the website. And if you want to visit me as well, this is my blog, so you can visit me. And don't forget to join NBK-Design on Facebook. And we're going to have more of this. I appreciate all the people that were here. And stay tuned that we're going to have more. And you can watch, we're going to put the record later, and you can watch this. Okay? So thank you, everyone, for coming here.